Good Wednesday morning, February 7th, 2024. Refresh my browser page and see if I actually have audio. Yes, I do. Unmuting desktop audio. SpeakerBot is running. And I'm going to go to some emails I have set aside. Only one comment from the chat room from Bobby Warren saying, "Hey Doug, we got an update. A supervisor called Tim yesterday, said the tech isn't needed. They're going to do updates in the pole and install fiber optic." Cool. Good news. Then I'm going to an email from a client. Now I'm not going to bring his name up on screen. So I'm going to read this. He says, "This is suspicious to me. Normally, who I receive doc share is on the email. That is not true here." So some of my clients receive secure documents through a service called DocShare. I haven't actually used it myself. And anyway, he received an email saying there's a document shared with him and he needs to click on this attachment to access it. And he's saying that the from address does not have somebody's name. It actually has his name _online docs _. I'm going to show you what this is. Let's see, it looks like this doesn't have anything confidential on it. So here's the document. It's got a QR code to scan. "You have received a document to review and sign today. Please use your smartphone camera to scan the QR code below for quick access to your document for review." This is not a normal way that DocShare shares documents. Down here we have a little bit of formatting problem, but there's no obvious grammar or spelling errors in here. The other things I see wrong with this is the KN in the upper left corner. What's that? And there are no names at all on this document. Below this is all blank. I'm going to take that off screen and scroll down and be sure. Yeah, it's all blank. There's absolutely no identifying information on here whatsoever. My deduction, and I haven't tried scanning that, and I suggest you don't, unless there's somebody who knows how to be safe with that, because I think that could actually infect your phone, but I think it would probably take you to another screen where then you would have to do some interaction in order for the damage to occur. And it might be to infect your phone. It might be to just try to get you to sign in to give up your credentials, essentially. But anyway, this was a new form of scam that I have not seen yet. So I responded to him telling him, yeah, just go ahead and delete it. I told him what it could do if you had scanned it with your camera, could have caused damage. And he sent an email right back in all caps. Let's see, let me go read it to you. I can't show it to you. Well, not all caps, but very large font. "Before I realized this, I took a picture with my phone, but nothing happened. Should I do anything?" So I sent a reply to him. "No, that's okay. Taking a picture isn't going to cause the harm. When you hold your phone up to a QR code, hold it for a few seconds, it should pop up a link that you would then have to touch on to do something. Don't do that. Only with QR codes that you are confident are legit, such as it's on the package of some item you purchased. Don't do a QR code that you don't know the source of it." Then I'm going to move on to an email from Chris Garrett. Yeah, I can show this part. There's no email address here. From yesterday, 5:36 p.m. my time. "Hey, Doug, have you ever had a dead external hard drive die? Yes. Have you ever had it only be a dead circuit board where the ports are? Yes. On every occasion that I had an external drive go bad, I take the hard drive out and it's fine. Most people will just throw their drives in the trash and never take it apart to diagnose." Now, when I first saw this email from Chris, I was a little bit annoyed, a little bit perturbed, to be honest, until I heard him talk about it on the Ken Stout show last night. I said, okay, he's not asking He's not asking me a question, and he's just sharing. He's just sharing here. But
is there a QR code for little Dougs? Huh.
Not unless you make one, John. Then here's this picture, and my reaction to this when he's showing me this circuit board, and he's got another picture of it, is, Chris, I know what's wrong with that circuit board. It's supposed to be attached to a hard drive. It's not going to work because you've lost the connection between the circuit board and the hard drive. That's a simple slam dunk answer to your question. I know that's not what he was asking. But yeah, if you care about what's on that drive, take it out. The hard drive, significant chance that it will be okay. Josh Kinder sends a question. I did respond to it during Fortnite, but I didn't complete my response. Just have a quick question. What kind of mouse pad do you use for your computer? Can you send me a link for it? I gave him the link in the chat.
That QR code will ask for your email and password. We have seen that at my job.
Do you know it's that QR code? Because did you recognize that QR code, Nick? Or did you try it? Did you try it with your camera? I think you probably are okay to do the touch on the link for the QR code, but don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not advising that you can do it, but I think that it's QR codes can't do a drive-by install on your phone. I think you would have to do something else.
We have seen this scam.
You've seen the scam. Yeah, I suspect that's what it is. I think that would probably be a common scam because most of the scams that come along are trying to get credentials. So that's probably what it is. Could be something else. And then what I want to get to. Oh, the mouse pad. Yeah, what I didn't show Josh is I don't know that he'd be interested in this mouse pad. This is my mouse pad. It's a little bit overkill. It's pretty handy to have all that space with Fortnite so that I can have the DPI setting. I think it's the DPI settings, what you call it on the mouse, so that I can move the mouse a long distance across the mouse pad and get travel across the screen. That way it's easier to aim closely on things. Mouse pad. It's an Indiana blanket, says Ken. Yeah, it's big amundo. And I put a link in the chat from Fortnite this morning, so I won't do that at this point. And Josh, I'll reply to your email with that link, unless you tell me you're not really interested in it, and that'll save me the trouble of replying. Then here we get into something a little more intriguing and interesting. And fair warning, advance notice, spoiler alert, or viewer discretion advised. In this next segment, we're going to be talking about Windows XP. Yikes. It's think of it as a mental exercise.
I have a pad on my desk that is like that under my keyboard and great for the mouse. It is 36 x 17 inches.
All right, Nick. Why do I get thrown every time I turn my attention to listen to something? What was I talking about? Oh, the Windows XP. Yeah, think of this as an exercise in thought processes. And
Windows XP?
Yes. In exercise in thinking things through and troubleshooting theory, rather than trying to solve a Windows XP problem, because Martin's not really asking for that. All right.
Anaform Spectrum called yesterday. She was a supervisor. Tim, she said, is everything okay with the speed test? He said no, and the tech came yesterday.
Oh, the tech actually came yesterday. All right. Now, hold off, please. That's speaker bot. Let me get off. Oh, it's not coming through. Nick just did another one. Oh, he tricked me. Nick, you little sneaky devil, you. He tricked up. Now what's going on? Oh, he took it. I mean, he must have took it away because he did a capital I or lowercase LD, and I thought it was a speaker bot.
Is this easy to break, Doug?
Yeah, it's easy to break, Doug. Am I going to have to turn it off? I asked for you to hold off. Okay. Martin Hoggs. Hi, Doug. Sorry to bother you. Wonder if you can chat assist. If you or chat can assist. I have still not disposed of the old 32-bit Sony Vaio laptop running Windows XP and would like to give it a last chance by installing Linux. Martin, duck. People are starting to throw things at you. No, just kidding. I have a bootable USB with MX Linux on it, and it's 32-bit compatible. However, the computer's BIOS will not show USB in the boot option menu. Some older laptops don't even have that capability. I suspect that's what's going on here. USB ports do function okay. And the CD-DVD drawer does not play any CDs or DVDs. It just clicks. So is there a way that I can either force the computer to show USB device in the boot menu in BIOS, or repair the CD drive with correct drivers? Or is there a way to run the ISO on the USB? Also, the PC will not connect to either wireless networks or over an Ethernet cable. It detects the wireless network but will not connect, so therefore unable to get updated drivers, etc. Just enjoying the challenge. Double underline, bold, italics. He's saying he's just enjoying the challenge. So, for a thought process of troubleshooting. I suspect the laptop BIOS is too old for bootable USB. That was not always a capability that existed. You could attach a, let's see, I don't know, a USB 3.5-inch drive? No, you're not going to be able to boot much on that, are you? But maybe a USB 3.5-inch drive might be bootable. And a USB connected DVD drive might take care of the DVD issue. Updating BIOS.
Step 1, go into boot options in BIOS and see what are the acceptable options.
Sounds like he's already done that. He says he's already done that, it looks like. Can you give us a picture of your BIOS screen? I can either force the computer to show, let's see, is there any way I can force USB? Where did he say it? I thought he said, however, the computer's BIOS will not show USB in the boot option menu. So he does get a boot option menu. That's not telling us that he's gone into BIOS to see if there's a setting change that he can make, because some BIOSes, at some place along the line, that was optional. You could turn that on or off. Yeah, so there might be an option within BIOS to turn that on. The version of BIOS you're using, you could do a Google search with the name of the BIOS and the version of the BIOS to search the question, can it boot from USB drives? The connecting to wireless networks, it could be that the network drivers that are currently present on the Windows XP are not capable of connecting to the protocol that your current modern day router uses. So perhaps there's a way to get perhaps an older access point that you could connect by Ethernet cable to your network that has older network versions or protocols. I'm not saying the right names there, but there's a possibility. Will not connect to wireless networks or over an Ethernet cable, and will not connect over an Ethernet cable. What do you actually mean by this? Now let me describe more specifically. PC will not connect to either wireless or over an Ethernet cable. Detects wireless network but will not connect. That sounds like a version issue. You might be able to enable an older protocol, older setting on your wireless router to be able to support legacy equipment. Unable to. Now, it won't connect over an Ethernet cable. When you go to a DOS prompt, ipconfig, does it pick up an IP address? Is it it could be that when you open the browser, you're not able to get to a website, and therefore you're saying that it's not connecting. But it is actually, perhaps it is actually connecting. You're saying it will detect the wireless network. So I'm deducing that means you see the SSID.
Dropping to an old wireless standard is a bad idea.
Well, it's a bad idea for a business environment. It's a bad idea if you got things that you're concerned about. If you're aware of it and you're a technician, I think you can go. I think you can do that. It's not going to be a daily driver for him. He's just going through a mental exercise. Okay? So chill. Detects a wireless network. So it might be when you're doing the credentials that it's not accepting the credentials. That also, the wireless has versions. And we're just enjoying the challenge, okay? It's a troubleshooting exercise. All right. Let's see what I got next to go to. That's everything I had lined up for emails. I don't have any bookmarks saved. I do. Let's see. Ken's in the room, isn't he? I saw Ken Stout earlier in chat. Are you still watching, Ken? If not, I'm not going to do this next segment. Oh, there he is. So I'm going to bring up. There's another thing.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I see that you're here. Yeah, he was asking about this. I've got this video of a client's fake alert infection. So this is a paused video. I'm going to play it in a moment. You'll be able to hear the audio unless somebody comes in with a speaker at that time. Hint, hint. Windows Defender Security Center, Microsoft Firewall, Windows Firewall Alert, PC infected with Trojan type software, error code, access has been blocked. Call this number. That's a scam. Don't call it. And 6594 down here, 6594, same thing. Down back here in the background, we see contact Microsoft support. We see what looks like a Microsoft page in the background. Pretty convincing appearance. There is audio with this. I'm going to click the play button. I'm going to play a few seconds of it so you'll hear the audio message that was coming through for this person. Josh, I see your message. You got the link from this morning. And here we go for play. So, Doug's, be quiet.
Consent to visit websites that contains identity theft virus. To unlock the computer, please call support immediately. Please do not attempt to shut down or restart your computer. Doing that may lead to data loss and identity theft. The computer lock is aimed to stop illegal activity. Please call our support immediately. Important security message. Your computer.
Okay, so what I did there was just go back a little bit here. The message was playing. I used my buttons up here at the top of Log Me and Rescue to press Control-Alt-Delete to be able to get into Task Manager. When this message is showing, I've also been able to get to Task Manager with Control-Shift-Escape or on the actual computer keyboard, Control-Alt-Delete. Sometimes I could get to the taskbar at the bottom of the screen and right-click on the taskbar and choose Task Manager. And then once I got to Task Manager, you saw me go into to just end task on Microsoft Edge. And that has always stopped that in progress message. Now, I'm intending to make a video for that because I go on and make some security changes on the computer to prevent that from happening again. And I also intentionally went back into that fake alert website and I tracked down how she got to it. We went back to the actual MSN. It was on MSN.com, you know, all those clickbait stuff. It was one of those. I was able to re-trigger it for a couple times, and then it stopped working. And I've done this a few times where I find that after some period of time goes by, it's either an ISP out there somewhere, or maybe a DNS system, or somebody blocks it, or the culprits themselves take it down because they've generated enough phone calls coming in. I don't know technically how it stops, but it only lasts for a little while. Is MSN still around? Well, yeah. MSN.com is still the default homepage for Edge. When you install Edge, it'll take you to MSN right off the bat. But I've found that very often to be the source of the trouble. So then we tightened up security on the browser. And anyway, I want to do what these new videos that I'm calling what a slam dunk video. So within 2 to 4 minutes, be able to get it, you know, some good advice for people. Then another thing that I want to show is I had a problem occur when I was trying to, I was recording a local video for a slam dunk video, and I got a message that I'm out of disk space. So I said, what's up with that? Well, this F drive active media was down to less than a gigabyte free, so I've moved files to another location. And I got curious, I wonder what speed tests would show on that, because that F drive, where I have active media, is actually on the same SSD that same NVMe that my C drive is on. And I'm waiting for this to come up to show you that, because, you know, we've been told that SSD drives don't perform as well when they're full. Now, here's my C drive on this disk 1. This is an 8 terabyte NVMe drive, and here the F drive is on that same drive. Okay, so what I did this morning, I thought, well, let's see what Crystal Disk Mark says. So I did Crystal Disk Mark on this one's the C drive and this one's the F drive. I was wondering if there's much difference at this point, and that's pretty close. That's not very bad. And I think what I'm going to do is let this go ahead and fill up some more and see what happens when it gets more full. What I did is I just took some of my video files and moved them over to long-term storage, because that's on the L drive, and the L drive is here. Yeah, so I thought that would be an interesting thing to see how that develops. Now, let's go check in with the chat room. Okay, speaker bot is allowed. I do not have any redirects. Ken, if you've got something prepared, let me know. Oh, look at that. My chat window, 9:07, 7 minutes after chat started.
I do not.
Ken does not have a show. All right. So if I look at, let's see, if I bring up OBS, you're going to get that mirroring thing, but if I drag another window on top of it, the mirroring stops. So first was John Williams. Doug, you must have been thinking about me with that tune, LOL. My first thought when I saw that was, well, gee, is that a little bit arrogant, thinking that I know him well enough to know how that trailer video relates to him? No, it's not what it's about. Let's see, I'm just checking on something here. Get a monitoring screen up so I can see if everything's working right, since I have OBS covered right now. But so I had to go look at, I went back to find what was the trailer. Well, it was Johnny Be Good. So it's Johnny Be Good, unless he's actually saying that he never learned to read or write so well. That might be what he was really trying to associate with. No. Oh, when I click on OBS, I lose that cover. So there was Alice and Rick Lakes and Brian Lightfoot. Show is scheduled for Wednesday. Chat. Today is Wednesday. Chat. Name of the host is Ken Stout. Check. Brian again. Did you hear about the fire at the shoe factory? Unfortunately, many souls are lost. Nick Poverman saw a man standing on one leg at an ATM. I asked him what he was doing. He said, just checking my balance. And he did that with a speaker bot. Interesting. Yeah, no, it doesn't come out. It doesn't play for me. Am I on the right day? Yes, the right day, wrong time. The show ended an hour ago. Nice try, Brian. Would like the Back to the Future version of this song. Oh, I can scroll without bringing OBS to the front. Ken Stout, shoot, I made coffee as well. No, that'd be right. Church, wrong pew. What time is it starting? Great Scott, Marty, if we can't generate 2.7 gigawatts, we'll be stuck in the Doug zone forever. I heard some heels started it. Clock is running. You better try to catch it. Oh, bunch of jokes. Is your refrigerator running? You better catch it. When I was a kid, I don't know, high school or something like that. No, not high school. Grammar school, probably. Yeah, neighborhood friends, we would make phone calls. Is your refrigerator running? Don't you think you should go catch it? Morning, hope you're better. From Rick to Ken. No, from Ken to Rick. Yeah, diddle that. I heard your back troubles. Hope you're feeling better. Ken was having back troubles too after golfing. Jeff Ryman, good morning from Las Vegas where the sun is peeking through. Richard Rogers, Selden Ball, Martin Hogg. I applied for membership of the IPS, International Procrastination Association, 6 months ago, but when I asked for progress, I was told I failed because I asked too soon. And I'm starting to feel better. All right, good. It wants you to log in with your email account. We've seen this at work. It probably is that same thing. Looks as though the little Dougs are in the background plotting a mutiny. Some external hard drives cannot be used outside of the case. The controller is soldered onto the drive itself. Interesting. I did not know that. I have not come across that. Probably because most of the external drives I buy are 3.5 inch. Those USB.
You are not displaying chat.
Oh. Here. Now. Yes. Thank you for that. Wow, this is all weird. This is a really weird way to do this. Okay, that was from Brian, but I'm still trying to get to the point to get caught up by looking at this OBS version of chat because that's not showing up here in chat. There 907 is Josh Kinder is the first thing that shows up. But over here on the right hand side, Doug, those USB adapters for hard drives so we can use them externally. I have had them just fail on me after years of usage. Today's electronics, we kind of don't expect them to just fail. Well, I do. I think the whole electronics industry, they just get very, very cheap, trying to give us cheap parts. And it's great because we get cheap parts that way. But yeah, I don't expect long life out of electronics. Okay, now I'm caught up and I can go back to my normal way of doing chat. Ugh. Rat pad, mouse pad. Insanely cheap. Durability isn't exactly there. External power and other surges probably do detrimental things to integrated chips. Anyways, I'm just saying I've had failures with these devices. The old IDE interfaces, the constant plugging and unplugging, especially with ribbon cable, something will go wrong. Nick has a pad like that under his keyboard and great for mouse. She told them he replaced the line and his mom's line and his line is put together. He separate them. Yeah, he has a separate service from his mom's service, if I remember right. That's how much reduction in all the components to make such an interface has occurred over the years. Factory reset, LOL. Gets out 2x4 for speaker bot attention getter. Gets out a 2x4 for speaker bot attention getter. Let's get through some of this that I'm not understanding, such Doug. I will happily take this off your hands. I love old tech. Oh, Alice is interested in that XP machine. I use offline Windows XP to run old computer games that will not work on anything else. Just replace the CD drive. If you want to put some money into that computer, those CD-ROMs don't last forever. Yeah, I'd be concerned about even doing a USB connected CD drive. It might not be bootable depending upon the BIOS, so it might be better to replace the internal CD drive. Go into boot options and BIOS and see what the acceptable options are. Yeah, give us a picture. Send me a picture of the options in BIOS, Martin. You can boot from an external CD player. I have one that's how I used back in the day. If the BIOS on the computer will supports that. It's not always the case. He does get boot options. He told us he gets boot options. He just doesn't have the USB thumb drive offered as a boot choice. Now also the formatting of that, you said the USB device is Windows XP compatible. But I don't know, there still might be a lower lower formatting choice on DOS that might be more compatible. I don't know that very well, but somebody will speak up if that is a possible direction to go. I've had old desktops that will not boot off of USB devices. Yeah, desktops and laptops. Sometimes you have to plug in a USB device so it shows in the boot menu. I've seen that. It's kind of weird, but the device has to have something in the USB port to activate the menu for choice. No legacy option in BIOS. That's not the question. The BIOS doesn't have UEFI option, probably. It probably is a legacy BIOS. So there's no option to switch to support legacy devices because it is a legacy BIOS. And it doesn't know what UEFI is, I suspect.
Is there a 32-bit OS for Windows 7?
Yes. Yes, there's a 32-bit operating system for Windows 7. I had to install that in a client's office when their software would not support 64-bit. And for Windows 7, you said. Yeah. The amplifier was dead. That must have been the internet issue. Now, it's entirely possible, but it has to be on a very, very old machine. I'm talking USB 2.0 and XP. There actually was no option to boot from USB. I'm not going to go further on that when you're just imagining answers, speculating answers. Make and model laptop, is it running its latest BIOS available? Now, you told us something about, you couldn't install updated drivers because you can't download them, but you could download those drivers on another computer to a USB thumb drive that computer will interact with, and then copy the file over and perform the update. Yeah, if you were to drop your router to a lower wireless standard, you would not want to leave that for long. Now that exposes your Wi-Fi network to somebody near your new Wi-Fi network that might try to hack it. If you don't physically have people close to you, then I'm not going to be worried about that. I don't think turning on an old wireless standard, I don't think any bad actors out on the internet can take advantage of that until they get access to your router. And turning on an old wireless standard is not going to make it easier for them to access your router, I think. There's a challenge, and then there's put it out of its misery. Yeah, well, Jim, on the same page with you, but Martin is enjoying the challenge, so have at it, my friend. Daniel, I have USB drives with Synology Rescue software. Lets you boot a PC and pull a backup from Synology NAS. Can't get it to work on first gen i5 Windows 10 laptop. They work on later desktops. Let's see, let you boot a PC, pull, okay, can't get it to work on a first gen i5. Are you able to get any USB thumb drives to boot through that USB port? I think you maybe have a similar situation here. If it's a first generation, that you may have to jump through some hoops to be able to boot from a USB drive. You might have to change an option in BIOS to allow booting from a USB drive. You might, let's say, version of USB drive, I don't think would be the problem. You might need to perform a BIOS update to be able to boot from the USB. Works on later hardware desktops. If it's just the Synology Rescue that you can't boot, but you...
MBR versus UEFI?
Good. MBR versus UEFI. So support, you might want to support legacy devices in BIOS. Was he talking about this computer? Let's see, that was Jim. MBR versus UEFI. I'm going to assume that Jim's referring to Danielle's issue. Yeah, is that a MBR BIOS with a first generation i5? And depending upon the brand, you seriously probably have newer BIOS available. So download that to this computer or another computer, whatever the procedure is for that manufacturer, and try updating the BIOS. That's my highest likely idea.
I have now installed Service Pack 3, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, Service Pack 3 on the Windows XP computer. All right. For Martin Hogg. Yeah, if you do a Windows 10 installed USB thumb drive, can you get the computer to boot on that? I got the link from this morning, thank you, from Josh. Let's get through a little bit. Jim, you're mean. Yeah, I would call Microsoft. They can help you with this problem. That's why you're getting that warnings built into the operating system. Problem relates to BIOS. This might be the virus thing that I was at. You will be simulated. Jim to Danielle. Correct, boot from USB wasn't a thing back then. Where are these people going to get these pop-ups? Are they clicking on Google search links? No, it's very simple. All she did, and I demonstrated. My video will show it. It was I think it was an MSN with a bunch of clickbait links, and she clicked on one of them. This isn't looking like the way that her screen was displaying at all. But anyway, she clicked on one. And then there was something to play something. There was a button to play something. She clicked on that. So I went back and repeated it and duplicated the symptom. And I have seen that repeatedly on clients' computers. When they get that fake alert, that's exactly what they did. Also, when they do a Google search trying to get to something and they just click on a search result without looking at the URL, I've seen that also cause that. So it's some destination site that's paid for an advertisement that has been compromised. Their security isn't tight enough. They were compromised by the evildoers to where they can get phone callers generated to call in for the scam. Ad blockers take care of a lot of this, yeah. Actually, simply turning up the browser security setting. I demonstrate where that fixed it on that computer. But with an i5 Intel processor, I would suspect that the BIOS of that era would be capable of booting. It's a first generation. That's really long time ago. I do not want ad blockers on my clients' computers. I do not want ad blockers on a computer where the user is not going to become aware of how to turn it on and off and where it is as an extension. I have way too many clients to be trying to train them all for that. No, that's not doable. But you don't even need ad blockers to block that. The Windows has security features built in for it. Yeah, Slam Dunk is a new series. There's only one video in that series currently. I can't wait to have them produce a new model with current technology. I can get Windows Rescue and Mac can reflect flash drives to boot on that laptop. Okay, there you go. So then it is the flash drive. When you created that flash drive, let's see, this is Danielle, so I'll do a search for Danielle. Get back to that first comment. I have USB drives with Synology Rescue software. It's the Synology Rescue software. When you're creating that Synology Rescue software, is there any advanced button or options button that might allow you to create that drive differently? Now, wait a minute. USB drives with Synology Rescue okay, thumb drives, not external hard drives, with Synology Rescue software, lets you boot a PC, pull a backup from a Synology NAS. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so I would suggest go back. I don't work with Synology. When you create that Rescue thumb drive, are there any advanced options that you can use that might make that thumb drive more interchangeable? And is that thumb drive the same make and model of thumb drive that as the thumb drives that are working for you? I maybe even take one of the thumb drives that are working with as a Windows Rescue Media, take that thumb drive and use that thumb drive to create the Synology Rescue drive. Just it's a little bit of throwing darts at the wall to try to narrow down what the actual source of the trouble is, because that's what you need to do, is narrow down what the actual source of the trouble is. Take that Synology thumb drive and boot it on other computers. Did you already tell us that that thumb drive you have tested on other computers? Let you pull. Can't get it to work. They work on. Okay, yeah, so yes, that thumb drive is working on later desktops with later hardware. That's where I was at, right?
32 watching and only 4 likes?
Thank you, John. Can that old, Random Daniel, can that old i5 boot off of other USB drives? And she did answer that, right? Yeah, I can get Windows Macrium to boot on that laptop. So she probably answered that before Rand asked, just before. And whatever media you're trying to boot, you might double check if it's actually a bootable system. Sometimes you create a bootable drive. She's already done that because she's used that device on another computer. Hello, Drew. Maryville Maid. At this point, I'm not going to pursue it further. Thought it related to today's conversation. Okay, thank you. Seldom, regarding ancient XP system, can its BIOS be updated from USB? Yeah, we talked about that. You might have put that in before I discussed that. All right, let's see. Speedy C says, hi to everybody. Scanning through. I think I'm going to shut down and I'll read the rest of these later. Later, alligator. I'm out of here. Goodbye. See you in a while, crocodile. Have a great day, everybody. Catch you later. Goodbye.